Okay, to start with assembling a Lundia unit, you're going to start with 2 uprights, an X brace, and 2 shelves. The first thing we need to do is to make sure what is the top and the bottom of an upright. The easiest way to do this is the bottom will have a longer gap from the underside of the cross rail to the bottom of the upright. The top will be shorter. The way to remember this is it's the thickness of a shelf, or 3/4 of an inch on the top. So when you put the shelf in, it'll be nice and flush. Whereas the bottom needs to be up off the ground. So your bottom is always going to be a longer distance, and that's critical. There's a top and bottom. So first find the bottoms of your uprights. We've done that with this. Then we're going to take the uprights. There's a few ways to do this, but this is just probably the most common way to do it. You could set this up if you have somebody helping you. You could set this up against a wall and do this. Because it's just myself, I'm going to do this while it's lying on the ground. First thing we need to do is set up the distance between the 2 uprights using these shelves. So, like I said, if you had somebody helping you, it's going to be a lot easier. But I'm going to show you can do this with just one person. So I've set it on the first shelf, and just sitting there loosely. And take the second shelf. And we'll set this in. And this is a good example where sometimes the upright, it's the nature of wood, expand and contract. So sometimes you might have to be a little aggressive on pushing the shelf in. So now I've got 2 shelves sat in here. Next thing we need to do is when we put the X brace on, it's really critical that this is done level. So the first thing I'll do is I'm going to measure up a distance and make a mark for where we're going to first screw the X brace in. One of the ways to do this, there is no set distance, but in this case I'm estimating X brace will be, we like to have X brace kind of in the middle, so I'm estimating right about in this area is where we'll make the measurement. If you're doing a 12-foot uprights, we do 2 X braces. If it was shorter, we may adjust this down. So I'm going to say about 18 inches up from the bottom. Just need to measure the first 2 and make your marks. Taking the screws we got, we're going to screw in the first one, and only the first one to start. We're going to be ready to screw this other one. Now this is where it's helpful to have a second person, or if you're against a wall, you want to make sure this is level. So what we're going to do now, there's a couple ways we could do this. And I think what I'll do actually is go ahead and put a temporary screw up here just to hold it in place. We're going to stand this, I'm going to stand this unit up. It's going to be a little wobbly, but it will stand. Now what I want to do is level it. Depending on the surface you're on, this is what's very, very important. If I assemble this crooked, every additional row that I add onto it will continue to be crooked, and ultimately it's going to be a problem. Okay, it's not level. So, leaving that one screw in there, I'm going to take this one out, and I'll adjust this upright until I've got it lined up, and we'll screw it together. Needed a slight adjustment. first unit set up. Double check that it's level. Yep, perfect. Then what you can do is put the rest of your shelves in. Once you've done the first upright, the rest is easy. Now that you've got it set level, right in line, start putting up the other ones. Now obviously we normally have this against the wall. If it was out in the open, we want to eventually do overhead bracing, but this is how easy it is. And once you get the first upright section set up, the rest work off of that. This is out in the open. I haven't even attached this to anything, and you can see it standing on its own. And there you go. Now I've got, we're starting the section. And on larger installations, we like to have X braces at least alternating every one. So if I put another unit on here, I would add X brace. The nice thing about this now is that this is perfectly level and plumb, so we don't have to worry about straightening anything else out. And that's how you install Lundia Shelving.